Hello and welcome to Mrs. Goff's kitchen again. So today is the Year 7 recipe and we're going to be making mini carrot cupcakes. So what you will need is 75 grams of margarine, 100 grams of sugar. I've got caster sugar, it's the extra fine one. You're going to have 65 grams of sultanas or any dried fruit. If you have raisins, that would also work. 100 grams of self-raising flour, which I'm going to later sieve, 1 large egg, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and approximately 125 grams of grated carrot. This is quite a large carrot, it's about 165 grams without its peel, so hopefully by the time I've topped and tailed and peeled it, it'll be down to about what it is that I need. Okay, so we're going to start with what we call the creaming method, which is aerating the butter, the margarine and the sugar together to make a light fluffy mixture. So I'm just going to get all of the ingredients and equipment out of the way. What we're looking for here is a nice soft margarine and our caster sugar, and we're going to beat those together with a wooden spoon, or alternatively we could do this with an electric whisk. So what we're looking for is a nice soft fluffy mixture which goes slightly paler in colour the more air that is added in. So I find it better if you pop it in the crook of your arm and beat vigorously, but for the purposes of the video, which I've just knocked, I'm going to do this at an angle. And the idea is we do this for a couple of minutes until you can't hear the sugar. Listen, you can hear the sugar still at the side of the glass. What you're looking for is not to hear that. So we've got it nice and light and fluffy. Now there are various cake making methods. There's the creaming method, the all-in-one method, melting method, and also the whisking method. So today is all about the creaming method, where the idea is that you cream the fat and the sugar together until it's nice and light and fluffy like this. So it does go a lot paler the more air that is trapped in. So for the purposes of the demonstration, I'd normally do that for about another minute or so, but we'll leave it there for now. So what we're going to do next is we're going to crack an egg. Now we always do this into a separate bowl, and we have our paper towel to one side as well, so we can put the eggshell straight away. And the reason we do it into a separate bowl is just to check the quality of the egg and also make sure that there's no eggshell in there. Pop it in the bin. And we pop it on a paper towel just to make sure that there's no raw egg gets onto our bench, which could potentially be a risk of salmonella. So, pop the egg in there. We're going to lightly beat it, just to mix it in. Now don't worry if it splits a little bit. It will come together. And if you're really worried and you do have an electric whisk, you could use an electric whisk at this point as well and make it nice and light and fluffy. So now is the time where I would add my flour. Now despite the fact that it is a self-raising flour, which has baking powder in to help it rise, we do make sure that we also sieve the flour to add extra air so that our cupcakes are going to be nice and fluffy. So I'm going to fold this in gently, kind of like a figure of 8. What we're trying to do is to not knock any of the air out that we have already in our cupcake mix. Here you go. Oops, I keep knocking the video. It adds for authenticity. Who said I needed to be a professional chef at home, eh? There we go. Right, so we're going to put that to one side. Going to add a teaspoon now of cinnamon. Now this is roughly a teaspoon we would normally use at school. Bring the thing back. We'd normally use, of course, our measuring spoons. But just for quickness, we'll be putting in a teaspoon there. Now if you don't like cinnamon, you don't have to put cinnamon in. You could put a tiny little bit of ginger, or you could just leave it sweet with the sugar. It doesn't really matter. The cinnamon's quite an authentic taste with the carrots. And it does actually help with the sweetness of the carrots. And makes a very nice spicy sweet cake. So at the moment it just looks like a cake mix. I'm going to add the sultanas. Oops, one left. And we're going to add the carrot. Now I'm hoping to do some separate videos which shows you how to prepare different vegetables. This is going to be the first one that I do with the carrot. Making sure we get some paper towels ready for our topping and tailing of the carrot. So in school we'd always have a paper towel next to it. So we've got a peeler and we've also got our sharp knife. Some movement in the kitchen of things moving around in a drawer. And also our grater a little bit later on. So to prepare a carrot, what you need to do is to top and tail. So there's the top of the carrot. Hold it firmly. And the tail. Try not to take too much off, but just the amount that is actually required. And then what we're going to do now is just peel it. So we've got all of our peelings onto the paper towel so it doesn't affect our chopping board. So as I've said in my other videos, at home I don't actually have a brown chopping board, which is what we'd use for solely vegetables. So today I'm using a white chopping board, which I don't use for anything else. So therefore I know there's going to be no cross-contamination. There's any potential listeria or anything else nasty lurking in the soil. Okay, to make it slightly easier, I'm going to chop the carrot in half, and then literally the carrot is best grated holding the carrot firmly, and then as you get towards the end you use the flat of your hand to make sure that it doesn't slip. So it's completely different to holding a piece of cheese, because the cheese will bend and flex with the protein and the fat content in. The carrot's very, very, very hard, and therefore it doesn't give you much resistance against the grater, and before you know it you could be grating your hands if you don't go using the flat of your hands. So I'm going to go down to about that, which I think is quite safe. Do the other bit. And I can eat those bits later. I think, judging by the quantity, I think this is possibly what we need here. Such a large carrot to start with. And then I'm just going to add that to our mix. Just going to add a little bit more moisture, you see. You might think, oh, why didn't you prepare the carrot before that, Mrs? Why didn't you prepare the carrot before that? Well, for those of you who remember enzymic browning, as soon as you cut a vegetable or a fruit, especially carrots or apples, they start to go brown through the reaction with oxidation, so the oxygen in the air. And what we don't want is wizened brown carrots in our mixture, do we? So it might not look particularly appetizing at the moment, but I can assure you when these are cooked, they're absolutely wonderful. Okay, let me just get tidied up. Put the carrots in the bin. Now we're going to move on to our dividing the mixture up. So you'll need 2 teaspoons for this. And what you're looking for is, 1 teaspoon to take it out, 1 to take it off. I knew this was going to happen as soon as I do a video. It's all going to go horribly wrong. Here we go. So you're looking for a nice little layer on the bottom of each of the cakes. I might possibly not get 12. Being a little bit ambitious because I've halved the recipe. And you continue until all the trays are ready. And it's important to try and get an even batch size so that they all cook evenly and you don't have to put them back in the oven after checking them, because some of them might not be cooked because you've overfilled 1 or 2. So let's try and get them as even as possible and try not to clag them up the sides like exactly what I've just done, because those bits do burn. So with the muffin cases, as opposed to sort of fairy cake cases, you're going to get 6, maybe 8 good sized cupcakes from this. And you can always use a spatula to scrape out the remainder there as well. Put a little bit more in that one, I think. So I've got 8 evenly sized cupcakes, and I'm going to pop those in the oven now for between 12 and 15 minutes on gas mark 4 or electric 180 degrees Celsius. The success criteria will be nice and light and golden brown with a little bit of a springy touch for this. So I've checked on my carrot cupcakes and they weren't quite ready at 15 minutes past, so I've put them in for a little bit longer and they've been about 20-22 minutes or so, and they are lovely golden brown. So don't forget at this point to use your oven gloves, because obviously the oven is going to be very, very hot. And you can now transfer them to a cooling tray. So you can see that bit where I managed to get the mixture up on the side, and basically what's happened is it looks like it's burnt a little bit because you've got a thinner amount of mixture. So you do really need to be very, very, very careful when you're putting the mixture out there. And what we're looking for is a nice springy texture, and it's completely complete underneath as well. Okay, I'll get this out of the way. And here is our completed carrot cupcakes. Now you can wait until these are cooled and you can put a cream cheese and icing sugar frosting on the top with maybe a little bit of food colouring if you wish, and pop that with a marzipan carrot, or if you want to, you could put a little bit of grated orange zest or lemon zest on the top as well, or you can eat them perfectly plain, which I'm probably going to do now. Enjoy!